spreadsheet play of the day is the Minnesota Vikings, and you already hinted to us that Minnesota Vikings was going to be a spot that you are on. Let's look at the line history here. We have the Packers open up -2, -105. They're now -2 at even money. So 5 to 7 cents movement towards the Vikings. This total opened up at 49.5 and has dropped to 47. Vikings beat the Pack at home last year. Can they do it again? And they're a better team, or at least they have a coaching staff that I like better. 19,330 tickets in. 56% of the tickets and 61% of the cash on the Packers. And now they've taken the VIG away from the Packers at this number, which is a red flag, which makes me think Vikings are the play. 65% of the tickets and 91% of cash on the under, and it's moved towards the under. Here we go. Packers, again, considered a Super Bowl contender. Lose Davante Adams, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Equanimeous St. Brown at receiver. They bring in Sammy Watkins. Rodgers going to have to get more from Alan Lazard. Randall Cobb will need to give them more. They have a good 1-2 punch at running back in Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. This defense is expected to be very good. And Birdie in our chat has talked about how elite he believes this defense is going to be. Front has Kenny Clark and Dean Lowry. Jair Alexander, one of the top cover corners. You got Rasul Douglas in the secondary. For Minnesota, after 8 seasons of Zimmer, it's now the Kevin O'Connell era in Minnesota. This offense, we know it's very dangerous. You could say this is the most dangerous running back wide receiver trio in the league in Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. The Vikings defense was awful last year. Awful. Only the Jets and Texans gave up more yards than Minnesota did in 2021. So what is Danielle Hunter going to give you? I feel like it's okay to bet Minnesota early. Trust Danielle Hunter and you have Zadarius Smith coming over, but can you trust these guys to stay healthy for a whole season? New defensive coordinator Ed Donatel is counting on both these players to stay healthy. Minnesota has had huge problems against the run, giving up average of 4.7 yards per carry. Donatel is making huge changes to the defensive plan. They couldn't stop the run in the 4-3, which they played for decades. Now they're moving to the 3-4. Also, the secondary will be relying on 32-year-old Patrick Peterson, 33-year-old Harrison Smith. It feels like this team will self-destruct, really, now that we talk about it. It feels like they're not capable of making it through. But early, maybe they have a ton of value while these guys are healthy. Take it away, Andy. Packers, Vikings.
Yeah, if this Minnesota team plays well this year, it'll probably be predicated on the offense. Like, it'll be very, I don't know, Cincinnati-esque, where people, they had a few players on that defense that made some plays, but for good chunks, that defense was super susceptible. And I think Minnesota's probably similar. Like, hey, if Dalvin Cook stays healthy and Jefferson's as good as he's always been, Thielen's still there, you get anything out of Rieger, like that'd be a even bigger bonus. And the tight end of Smith there. It's if the offense is clicking, and I know we're making this big assumption when we say, hey, it's going to be the Rams offense. Like Kevin O'Connell didn't call plays out there. You just assume what you're going to get. And I think we're probably wrong to assume you're going to get, 80% the same, but there'll be a good chunk of the same. Like it is going to be, there's no chance it's going to be what we saw last year with what Zimmer was, kind of mandating for the offense, where it was a good run scheme, but it was still too much of a run scheme. So if we play the kind of offense you saw from the Rams with a Justin Jefferson, with Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook picking up the slack with the whatever zone run scheme they put into place, like it should be a good offense. That said, I think a couple of people in the chats pointed out it's and you brought it up, the defense has some big holes. Like Patrick Peterson's a million years old. Even your star safety Harrison Smith's getting a little old. You should have some good pass rushing up front if Danielle Hunter stays healthy, bringing in Smith, but it kind of works in tandem there. The pass rush and the secondary has to be good. And I mean, somebody pointed this out. It's the best teaser leg on the board. The total's lowish. It's a home dog. It's a divisional game. It's a team that has played this team pretty decent over the past couple of years. And Aaron Rodgers has bupkis for receivers. Like if you're banking on this offense playing well, you're banking on Allen Lazard. I really think you're going to see this offense in Green Bay really built around the two running backs. And boy, I think it works. It just might take a little time. So we'll see. Minnesota, like you said, they gave up a massive amount per carry as a rush defense. That needs to improve a little, but if it's going to be, the running game that gets him, at least it'll be a slower, lower scoring game where I'm a lot less worried about them falling outside of the 7.5 or 8.
Is this so? I thought you might be making
their DX Flyer. There we go. Or DX Filer. I called him a flyer.
Oh,
he brought it up. It is. Yeah, this is my favorite teaser. Like putting this with the Rams. That's official. I already bet that.
Really? Okay. So the Rams Vikes is the teaser official. The Rams. And then okay. Well, we'll go over. So what? Actually, I'll ask you now. What did you get the Rams at? What did you get the Vikings at then?
It was you got me opening up books to figure out where I put it because I think it was Bet Now that gives me -110. It's so hard to find -110, and then when you do, it's so hard to find a limit. I think I had the Vikes at 2. Give me a second. We'll get back to it.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Take your time. I would like to answer, if you could, Andy, while you don't have to multitask here. Birdie has some interesting things to say because I was leaning towards moving on the Vikings here, and now I'm feeling some trepidation here. Birdie says this Vikings offense will potentially be really good, but that O-line is not good. Now learning a whole new blocking scheme, trouble. Then he says the entire mini defense was handpicked by Zimmer, and now they're changing the scheme. These guys have been in for years. This mini love is nuts.
Yeah, I really do think like if this team is good, it's the offense just working out. And the offensive line, there is something to be said for some continuity that they've had. Some of these guys have played together for a couple of years, but I don't know. It might be time to be moving on from some of these young guys they've brought in that haven't worked out. If the offensive line can't get a little bit better, we're in big trouble up here in Minnesota. But I do think that just what we'll see from an offensive game plan, play sequencing, play calling from Kevin O'Connell. It's just like I can't tell you what we're going to get, but I can tell you it's going to be a lot more better. And with the times than what we saw from Mike Zimmer, kind of keeping up with what's working in today's offense. So I am worried about this defense. I think the Vikings are a good look for an over team. Like throughout the season, what if this offense is just super fun and Jefferson's tearing it apart and they found a way to kind of work around a bad offensive line, get it to these playmakers, and the defense just stinks. Vikings playing in 45-42 games every week. So that's why I said the total's low, but I'm hesitant to think that in some of these other matchups. I'm very down on what Green Bay's offense can be this year.
So interesting. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play is Minnesota Vikings. Andy's got his teaser, and it's Rams Vikings. We'll get the numbers there so I can track it. We have Cheshire Cat with a $10 dono. Thank you, Cheshire, my man. He says, DX Filer is a dude who helps bring people together. Love this dude. If you haven't already, DX Filer, a.k.a. Gamblestein, a professional poker player. And we will be announcing this week our poker tournament at BetOnline, and it's going to be free roll for all of us, but there'll be at least $1,000 in cash up for grabs, and we're really excited about it. So we'll be announcing that this week. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play day on the Vikings. Let's move on.
We at Pop Sports Radio are doing our own Cappers contest. $100 entry fee. We will all be competing against each other. Every single cent that's put in will go into the prizes.
You've got 5 picks every week. If you go to pubsportsradio.com, you buy yourself that little ticket that you see on the website right there. Just hit add a cart, you buy the little ticket right there, and after you buy the ticket, you'll get an email with a link and a specific password for you to log in, make your picks, and all that good jam.
So it coincides, of course, with a survivor pool. 1 pick per week, sports survivor pool. That's exciting. We're having a Cappers contest, 5 picks against the spread each week, and a survivor contest. We all get to toast the victors and roast the losers. the Cappers contest at Pub Sports Radio. All you have to do is go to pubsportsradio.com to sign up.